Recording. Today is your most favorite, most popular open Q&As live stream. So for those of you who are joining, please write your questions in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them to the best of my abilities. If no one's gonna ask any questions, I'll just flex my muscles and those muscles are getting bigger and I'll go home. It's almost 9 o'clock in the Czech Republic in Prague, so it's about the time to go home. So I hope someone will join. Yeah, they are Chamuki Bazuki. They are who? They're what? They're what? I don't remember what I've just said, so you need to elaborate. Said Akramuddin, hello, hi Said. Thank you for joining, guys. If you have any bigger, oh yeah. Yeah, they are way bigger now. I use a lot of creatine, so creatine, I don't know how to pronounce it in English, and I don't, anyway. Anyway, guys, any immigration related questions, of course you can ask questions about my use of like supplements, that's fine as well, I'll be happy to answer that as well. But I'm here primarily for you and for your immigration, housing, insurance, starting a business related questions in the Czech Republic. So, lay it on me, baby. Otherwise, your questions will unanswered be forever. Oasim Yahumi, is it true that it's difficult to have a student visa approved with admission university based on internal evaluation procedures? I cannot really comment on that. I don't have too much experience with internal evaluations procedures and then the ministry approving or denying those applications. So unfortunately, I cannot really advise much on this one. So that's not the ideal start. That's not the ideal start. Asking a question I cannot answer, but hopefully there will be questions that I will be able to answer. And for somehow, I don't know, I need to go to sleep, guys. But for those of you who come here and they don't know me and they just see this video as the first thing, that's gonna be very weird, I think. Gaming Buddy, how to get admission in Czech university from UK? I have done masters from UK. Find a university you want to study, find a program you want to study, and then contact the university about the admission. I think that's the easiest way to do it. Sunny Sam, what is the procedure to change the family member TP to normal trvalý pobyt? Okay, trvalý pobyt for third world nations, but I live in the same address without the partner. Well, if you want to do it by the book, then if you got the residence permit, the permanent residence permit based on your partner, you're no longer partners, you need to report that you're no longer partners, and then you will see what happens. Sometimes the ministry will let you use the same trvalý pobyt as you have, or they will let you tell you that you have to keep it, or they will just basically change the card for you to the standard non-EU related one. But definitely if you got the residence permit based on the partnership, then you should report that the partnership is no longer there. If you don't do that, question is how the ministry will know, if they will know, and anyway, it should not endanger your permanent resident status because that's permanent and that has no purpose of stay. So there is no, the ministry cannot just cancel the permanent residency because you break up. So it's relatively safe to report it. Guys, there was 45 people watching at some point and 0 questions. That's very weird. So maybe just people came here, looked at me and said, oh, I don't like this guy. I'm out of here. Nobody. 35 watching, 2 likes. Step it up in here, double tap the screen to like. It's free to like and subscribe. Help the algorithms. That's the man. That's the man, guys. Thank you, nobody. You don't get the credit because nobody knows you. But guys, yeah, of course, share, like, tap the screen, but primarily ask your questions about Czech Republic, live here, move in here, visa, immigration, housing, health insurance, everything, because that's what is the live stream about. You're welcome, I'm Nobody. Nice to meet you, Nobody. Nice to meet you. Sunny Sam, thanks a lot, my pleasure. Guys, keep it coming, keep the questions coming, so this live stream is a bit more useful. It's fun, I'm enjoying, if you cannot tell, I'm enjoying. For some reason, it looks like I'm drunk, even though I don't drink at all. But I'm enjoying today, for some reason. More than normally, I mean. Mahumi, my family gave me money as proof of funds for student visa. Should I add any documents related to my family for the visa? Well, it depends how they gave you the money. If they transferred it to your bank account, then there is not really need to do anything right now. The only thing you must do is to keep the money there during the whole approval process, because very likely the ministry will request a fresh proof, or potentially even like 3 months of bank statements, or even longer. Sometimes they want 6 months, but that's kind of stupid. But anyway, they can request long-term proof that you had the money for long-term. So definitely don't move the money anywhere. But if it's in your account, that should be pretty straightforward. Gaming buddy, expenses in Prague as student and salary. Well, okay, that's a big topic. Okay, so I'll start from the working part and the salary part. One thing is, which I can answer normally and hopefully usefully, is that as a student you can work even full-time, but two buts. One but, two but. So two buts. First thing is that you must really be a student. You must be the proper student, which means that you need to study an accredited program. Because if you don't, then the free access to the Czech labor market does not apply to you, so you cannot work. Generally, there are some exceptions, but like this, it's in general. So first of all, you need to study a proper school, proper program. If you study some of the universities that don't have accredited programs, then you will not be qualified as a student, but as the other, and under that you cannot work. Again, generally there are some exceptions, but generally you cannot work. So it depends. You can already disqualify yourself from working just by studying a non-accredited program. Then, if you can already work, if you have the free access to the labor market, you can potentially work even full-time. You just always need to fulfill the purpose of your stay, and the purpose of your stay will be studies. So you primarily need to study, go to all the exams, pass all the exams, have an attendance if that's a requirement of the school. Because if you stop studying or you don't fulfill the requirements, then the student visa or student residence can be cancelled. So that's very important to understand. Switching from a student visa to an employee card, for example, or something employment related is not really recommended. I've done a detailed video about that, so just if you're interested in that, find it in my channel, but I don't really recommend it. So you really need to study. That's the main thing. As for salary, that kind of depends on what you do. I cannot really tell you what's the salary for a student, because it can be like 20,000 crowns if you work in McDonald's, or 21 now. If you work at McDonald's, it can be like 110,000 if you're a programmer. So it's very hard to say. It depends on what you can do, what you bring to the market, what experience you have, what you know. So I cannot really answer that. As for expenses, that also depends on your lifestyle. What you need to count with as a foreign student is definitely insurance, which you will need to buy every year for the full year in advance, which would be, let's say, 1,000 crowns a month. They usually pay it in advance, so you pay like 12,000 crowns a year, but let's say 1,000 crowns a month if you want to save up for that. Then some regular expenses like your phone, pass, like for the metro and everything, that will be, say, 1,500 altogether, so 2,500 for this. And then it depends on where you live. If you live in some dormitories, then you might pay 6,000 crowns maybe. If you share a flat, if you have your own room, will be 10 to 15 I've seen, which is crazy kind of, but yeah, 10 to 15 is what to expect. If you want to have your own studio, for example, that will be at least 15 to 20, but more like 20 and more. 15 would be very like not that easy to get. And then it depends on how you want to eat. If you want to just eat basic shit, let's say, like bread and a sausage, probably you can live with 300 crowns a day, maybe. So 9,000, 10,000 crowns, probably you can survive with that. If you want to eat a bit more, eat a bit better, then it will cost you way more. So this would be probably the total cost in Prague. You are now mentioning it again. I've just talked about it for 2 minutes. So rewatch it if you disconnected. Now, Huma or Rolfo or Yuma or Juma, I'm sorry for mispronouncing. I'm planning to get a PR here in Czech. May I ask, is it possible to live outside in Czech, maybe within Schengen area for 6 months to a year without returning in Czech? Depends on what kind of permanent residence you get, but if you get the standard non-EU one and non-EU related one, then you can be in other EU countries for up to 6 years and in other non-EU countries in the non-EU countries for up to 1 year. So 6 months is not a problem. Don F. Hello, first of all, thank you for all your effort. If I don't have in my country sworn translator, what are the other ways I have to translate my documents to the Czech language? One thing is to ask, or one option is to ask the embassy, because in the past they were very helpful with translations. They always or they often could help you with the translation or verify the translation which you did yourself. Now most embassies don't do it, but maybe they could in your country. I don't know where you're from. Another option is that you send the documents to the Czech Republic to someone, they get it translated, and then they send the documents back to you. Oasim Yahuni, do you help people to get a rent in Prague? Yes, we do help with that. Not only in Prague, we can help with that everywhere in the Czech Republic, but primarily we do Prague, yes. Nur Hayati Hayan, question on flat rental. Is it common for a landlord to ask for tenants to pay for insurance for the flat? I think it's called liability insurance. Where do I go for this insurance? Any ideas? Thanks, Jan. It's becoming more and more popular. It wasn't really a thing here in the Czech Republic a couple of years ago because Czech landlords were kind of not that experienced, let's say. They often saw their flat as their baby and they just like wanted to rent it out to someone else. They didn't see it really as a business. Now it's becoming more of a business, let's say, and people understand that it's like it can be a passive income kind of. So they think more about contracts and they also more include the insurance to the contracts, like that you have to have it. It's actually good for you as well, because if you, for example, I don't know, forget to like stop the water in your wherever, and then it like leaks to the people who live below you and everything, then the insurance might cover it. If, on the other hand, someone does the same to you, the insurance might cover it, or their insurance might cover it. In either way, no one has to pay really. Plus other things, you can use it to prevent or like insure against like breaking into the apartment, stuff like that. So it's actually pretty useful. Of course, as any insurance, it needs to make money, so most people don't use it. But do you want to risk it or not? Another thing is that it's pretty cheap. It's like if you live in a studio, it might be like 600 crowns a year, 700 crowns a year maybe. If you live in a bigger apartment, it can be like, if you have 100 square meters apartment, really nice, 1500 crowns per year. So 100 crowns, which is what, 4 euros a month. That's really like nothing to protect all your things and also like you from paying for damage you cause. So definitely a good thing, nothing to worry about. We help with that to our clients who found accommodation with us, but there are also other brokers. So if you used someone to help you find accommodation, or maybe ask the landlord, they usually have someone they know they can recommend. So there are plenty of places. Thanks a lot. Okay, got it. Okay, thank you so much. Chamuki Bazuki, does the EU or Schengen require some common rules for visa granting? Can differences in rules allow easier access to Schengen? Yes, of course. Like the EU has some general rules that apply generally. General rules, yes. My English is perfect today and my thinking. But then countries can modify the law kind of as they wish, but of course they need to stick to the general law, but they can modify the law somehow. So yes, of course, for some nationalities it's easier to get into some EU countries. For the same nationalities it might be more complicated to get to other EU countries. So yeah, there are differences. Elena Sandu, hello Elena, thank you for joining. Keshavrash, Giri, hello, good evening, hello. Swagatika Nayak, hi Swagatika, hello Jan. If the primary applicant is student visa and the spouse is having family reunification visa and she wants to study here in Prague, in that case, where he should apply to student visa, why would you apply for a student visa? That's the question number one. If you're under the family reunification, you can study as well. So there is no reason for you to change the type of visa. I would not really recommend it anyway, unless the main applicant is moving away and you want to stay here alone, but you can study under the family reunification, so I don't see a reason to change that. If you want to switch to a student residence permit though, you can do it in the Czech Republic at the MOI. For a trade license, what is the maximum validity of it? Generally, the maximum validity is unlimited, but that's only for PR holders and EU citizens. For non-EU citizens, it always mimics the validity of your visa or residence permit. So if you have a residence permit for a year, then your trade license is valid for a year, generally. Nurhayati R, yikes, haha, okay, got it. Then on the insurance topic. Okay, sounds cheap, I'm happy. Thanks as always for your advice. My pleasure, that's why I'm here. Swagati Kanayag here in Prague or in her home country, and she's having a visa till 2025. Yes, I answered that. You've been very helpful, Jan. Thanks again. My pleasure, guys. Thank you for being here, because that's why I can be helpful. If no one joined the live stream, then this would be pretty boring, I think. Even though I'm today like in a good mood, so I might entertain you anyway, but definitely not like this. I have Slovakia national D visa. Can I work and get employee card in the Czech Republic? Nope. Because D visa is generally valid only to the country which issued the visa, or like which is it valid for. So you definitely cannot work with the Slovak visa in the Czech Republic. You cannot even apply for an employee card in the Czech Republic or in Slovakia, because you can only apply in the country of origin or in the country where you've been residing for more than 2 years. So if you have just a D visa, then I assume you've not been staying there for more than 2 years. And of course, I'm guesstimating your nationality, which I would say Indian. So in that case, it applies. If you have a different nationality, then you could apply somewhere else potentially. Ali in Czechia. Hi Jan, could you help with getting 12th grade documents nostrified for study purposes? Okay, yeah, potentially yes, but we don't really do it at the moment, because that's not our main focus. We primarily focus on other services, but we've done it before. So technically we can, but we don't offer it as a service right now. Swagatika Nayak, perfect, thank you. My pleasure, Swagatika, thank you for joining. Oasim Yahuni, is it true that living 2 years in Czech Republic gives the person the right to live in Germany? Never heard of it. Never heard of it. So I guess it depends also on what exactly you mean first. Second, might depend on the type of residence permit, because there are some types of residence permits, and depends also on nationality, because there might be different bilateral agreements between the Czech Republic and some other countries, or Germany and the Czech Republic and Germany and some other countries. But the only two exceptions that I can imagine is a blue card, because generally yes, if you have a blue card, it's easier to move within the EU. So if you have, for example, a German blue card for 3 years, then you can come to the Czech Republic, apply for a blue card in the Czech Republic. You don't have to go through any embassy. And also the years you spent in Germany count towards the Czech PR. So I would expect something similar applying from the other side. So if you move from the Czech Republic to Germany, so that's one option that I can think of. Second is that if you have a student residence permit, so not a visa but a residence permit, and it specifically says student in it, you can technically live in other EU countries as well, as long as you study there for up to 1 year. So those are the two exceptions I can think of, but generally I'm not aware about any general rule that if you live in the Czech Republic, you could move to Germany after 2 years. Sadia Ahmad, sorry for mispronouncing already the first name. Hi, I'm from the US. Hi, I'm from the Czech Republic, and salute to the US. Do you have any question for me today? Guys, still 23 of you watching, so please, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, it's been more than 20 minutes, so I might finish the live stream. But if you have any questions, please write them into the chat. Ali in Czechia, could you please explain the procedures nostrification for 12th grade documents, please? Okay, generally it works the way that we need to have the original diplomas with apostilles and translations into Czech, official translation into Czech. Then you take it to a local municipality. In Prague, it's the magistrát. You usually need to have some other documents as well, like a proof of accommodation. You pay some fee, which is 1,000 crowns, and then you wait. What they do is that they compare the subjects you studied in the country of origin, then they compare it to what you would study in the same program in the Czech Republic, and if it kind of matches, they give you the notification. If there are big differences, you need to pass some exams. Those exams would be in Czech, so it's kind of weird, and you get all the information from them like this, and this is the process briefly. I've done a video about nostrification as well, both the high school diploma and the university diploma. It's on my channel, so if you go to my channel, just search for nostrification, you'll find it there with more details. Is it possible to hire a person from non-EU country using the trade license even though you start in a business? I'm not sure I understand that question. Is it possible to hire a person from non-EU country using the trade license even though you start in a business? What's the idea? Tell me please. You started a business in the Czech Republic and then you want to hire someone from a non-EU country to work for you as a freelancer and get a visa based on that? Or what's the situation? I'm not sure I understand properly. Sorry, I cannot pronounce that better. Which question they will ask for student visa and when I must apply visa? Go to my channel and check a video called student visa interview or interview questions or student interview questions, something like that. I've done a full video about that, like what questions they ask, what they want to hear. As for when to apply for the visa, I would recommend applying at least 3 months in advance. That would be like the bare minimum. If you apply like 1 month before your school starts, no chance you'll get it in time. If you apply 2 months in advance, very not likely to get it approved in time. 3 months, it's still not 100% likely that it will happen in time, but it's at least there is some chance. 4 months, 5 months in advance might be the best. So it means starting the process at least like 6-7 months before your planned arrival. So if you want to come here in September, I would recommend starting the process no later than in March and applying for the visa no later than in May, for example. Of course, that's the ideal scenario, which usually doesn't happen, but this is what I would recommend. Another question from Nurhayati on flats. I should be asking the landlord if I can use the flat address for MOI purposes. I have an employee card here in Prague. Well, you should have asked these questions before you sign a lease. or not ask the question. You can, landlords officially have to let you use the flat for registering your address there, and they should also provide support in case you need to get the proof of accommodation and stuff like that. That's obligatory for them. No, I'm not saying that everyone does it, but they should by the law. So that's not much of a question. The question is if you can actually use the apartment, if it's an apartment, and if the person you deal with is the owner of the apartment. So those are two things I would definitely recommend checking before you sign any lease, like who's the apartment and if it's the person you deal with. And second, if the flat is actually registered as a flat or not as a business space, or maybe something called atelier, which also is not a place suitable for living. Because even if the flat looks like a flat, it doesn't mean that it's officially listed as a flat. And then if it's not a flat officially, you cannot use it for any official purposes. Chamuki Bazuki, so you can live in Spain for years and then 1 year in Czechia and get Czechia PR. No, that's related to the blue card, but that only works for the blue card, not for other residence permits. I would need to check if it's like exactly what you say, like Spain 4 years, Czech Republic 1 year, if it will work like that. But generally, yes, the years you spend in other EU countries under blue card, then if you have a blue card in the Czech Republic, then they count together. If someone has Polish temporary residence card, can he work in Czech Republic and apply for Czech? Generally, that's the same. You can, as I explained before, long-term visas, long-term residence permits, temporary residence permits are country specific, or at least in the Czech Republic. I would say generally for the EU, but as I mentioned before, there might be slightly different rules everywhere, but it's only country specific. So it doesn't mean that if you get like one visa for the EU, you can like live and work in all other countries. So you cannot do that. As for applying, it depends on where you're from. But if you're from India, for example, you need to apply for a Czech employee card or some kind of residence permit or visa, long-term visa, only in the country of origin or in the country where you have been living for more than 2 years legally. So if you've been living in Poland for more than 2 years, you can potentially submit your Czech visa application in Dresden, in Germany. But if you haven't been there for 2 years, then you have to do it in the country of origin. Not a freelancer, but a local business here in Czech. Is it possible to hire a person from non-EU country if I'm a trade license holder? Well, it depends on what you mean by hire. You know, if you just want to hire them to do some work for you, like you go online and say, hey, I need to create, I don't know, a flyer, and they do it, you pay them, not a problem. If you wanted to bring them here as your kind of employees, that would definitely be way more complicated. Nurhayati, okay, great, Jan. Your answers are noted and understood. Thanks again. Thank you for asking the question. Razazade, sorry for mispronouncing again. How we behave in interview time and talking this person. Definitely don't be rude. Don't go there like, hey motherfucker, I want the visa, of course. But no, there is no like special conduct. Get nicely dressed. You don't have to go in like a tuxedo or anything. You should not go in your shorts and flip-flops either. So just be nicely dressed, behave normally. The more important part is what you tell them, not what clothes you are in when you're telling them. They could check that as well. Like if you go there and you have something very weird on you, like you have all the German jacket with all the like Hakenkreuzes here, then they could probably note it down. But if you just, it doesn't matter if you have like a blue shirt or yellow shirt or whatever. Rob Peace. I applied for a visa in 2021 but was denied because I lacked the business plan. I'm applying again after taking the TEFL program. Will the fact that I was denied before affect the decision this time? Officially, no. Unofficially, yes. But it's definitely not like a big problem. If the reason for the previous denial was that they didn't believe you had a good business plan, then the only thing you need to do now is prepare a better business plan. And then that should be okay, because what might happen is that they ask you some additional questions. They might ask you about the previous application, like, so what was the reason the last time, blah blah blah. And if you answer the questions like reasonably, then you can still get it approved. It doesn't work the way that if you once get approved, you denied, you will never get a visa again. Of course, unless it's something serious you did, like if you killed someone here and then you got deported, probably the Czech Republic will not let you in. Or if you forged some documents, if you used some fake documents, that could also prevent you from getting another visa. But if it was just because you didn't have a good business plan and now you have a good business plan, should be fine. It's just maybe a bit more complicated during the interview. Huma Orolfo or Yuma Juma, I don't know what's the correct pronunciation. Thanks a lot, Jan. Hope help more people. Keep it up. That's also up to you guys. So share, comment, share the links everywhere, and share and comment and like. Yeah, that's what I forgot. And help me spread the word. Ropis, thanks so much. My pleasure. Thank you for asking the question. And it seems like that was the last question. I've been here for a nice 32 minutes, so I'll go home and sleep. Thank you guys for being here, joining the live stream, watching the recordings, and asking questions, because without that, it would not be such a good live stream. And I'll see you again Monday, Thursday, until the end of the world.